Hey girl, hey, happy Monday. I can't believe it's Monday again already, but this is my favorite part of the week to be able to sit here and talk to you guys and bring you amazing people, amazing information to help you to grow and just be better, right? I think we often think about ourselves in a splintered kind of way. And that's not what we are. We're only one person. But anyway, before I get into that, my name is Olivia Thomas. If you don't know me, I'm the founder of Wintentional Development Co. and the Busy Girls Brunch. I am here to help you go from flustered to flourishing with brand strategy and business model design. I am here to help you make it make sense. That's the long and the short of it. Make the messaging and the money make sense. So I'm excited because I get to talk to a dear friend, Kemerlin Richards. So she is a personal development coach, and I love what she does because, like I was saying, we are one person. Like, as individuals, we are only ourselves in everything that we're doing. And I think it's okay to acknowledge that, whether you're in business or whether you're in life, all of these things commingle and they are who you are. You are affecting every part of your life and every other part of your life. So you can't expect to be successful in one area and then kind of like let things fall to the wayside, especially in the personal. If your foundations aren't set, it's going to be super duper hard for everything else to build on top of that. So I'm excited to talk to her. She is on a mission to help women navigate and get out of the narrative of being on autopilot, which is, I think, is amazing. I don't think we ever really realize we're on it until we actually do. So let's get this awareness going and talk to Camerlin. Hey, girl. Hey,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Really excited for this conversation and to talk more in the personal development realm. I don't
Love
think
it.
we do that enough on a deeper level. But I'm excited about the conversation and looking forward to, all the things we'll unpack tonight.
Awesome, 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 awesome. So I introduce you from, my
Mhm.
experience of you. Please, you feel free to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Kemerlin. Last name is Richards. I am a personal development coach. I specifically help women in leadership who are at the crossroads of stuck in transformation, right? We have
Mm.
two worlds, but they're at the crossroads of staying stuck and being transformed. I help them by reprogramming their autopilot for success so that they can reconnect to their deep aspirations and build the life that they actually want, right? And so ultimately, what that means is that being on autopilot is like being stuck, being in a loop of, I guess, continuum,
Mm.
right? Um, Doing the same thing and being in your own routines because of hidden behaviors or things that are actually blocking you from actually having the life that you say that you want. And these
Yeah.
behaviors are not behaviors that are, I would say, noticeable, right? Because they are hidden
Mm.
behaviors. But my job is to help you unearth those behaviors, right? And the goal is to do a full life reset. um, I don't believe in compartmentalization as far as
Mm.
transformation is concerned. And what that simply means is that though we may take a compartmentalized approach, the goal is to, through my framework, the authentic goal framework, is to get to the root of problems. So then you will in turn do a full life reset that actually benefits you in a professional way and in a personal way. So, yeah.
I love that about the intersection of being stuck and transformation. I feel like a lot of people get to the point where they are they've done some work and then they get to the point where they feel like they are at a plateau, they're not moving anymore. Um and I feel like that's usually the point where they're gonna go over into transformation. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think that what I really think the plateau really is that they're just common things that will get you results, right? Um If you make up your bed consistently every day, you might, feel more refreshed in your room. If you save $1 every day for a year, you know how much money you're going to have at the end of the year. I think that there are just certain things that just get you, you know, common results, right? The results that they will
Mm,
get, that anyone can get, right? But I think that
mm,
when we start coming to a plateau, is that we stay stuck in doing those common things just to get here. And to get over that plateau, you have to customize what you need to do for you,
mm,
for specific and more deeper transformation, right?
yeah.
So instead of, this is one thing that I say a lot to my clients, is that never assume that you understand the meaning of common words. And why do I say that? Is because we're in an age of information, and sometimes we will miss things just because we say, "Oh, I know what that means," right?
Mm,
Or we really don't stop and take the moment or an opportunity to really understand what it means for us on a mental, physical, emotional level. Like me and my self care may never look like yours, right? Let's just bring it down even more. Let's break it down even more. Like, even on a physical level, we have different physical needs. So right then there's a separation, with
mm.
self-care. Self-care is not just taking a bubble bath and going on a trip, right?
Nope.
So going on a trip, and so that goes back to what I said about common results. Taking a bubble bath, you're going to be clean. Anybody who washes is going to be clean, right? Going on a trip, you may feel excited and amazing for that moment, but then you have to come back to you and your reality.
Mm,
So if you're not willing to customize or get to the bottom of what you specifically need to do to go over the plateau, you'll continue in just getting common results.
I love that. I love that. Nashay is in the comments and she's saying, I know is actually a lack phrase. I love that
Oh,
because it's
well,
true. Oh, because like the more you're like, I know, the more you are putting
yeah,
yourself off from discovery.
yeah. I mean, even words that, sometimes I go back to the dictionary, because sometimes what we do is that, like being on autopilot, um, again, the word intersection. So it's the intersection between what you see and what you hear,
Mm,
right? And it's how you interpret that through your actions, through your emotions. And so, though we can say, I'm doing a series this month on self-sufficiency, and so when we look at that word, we look at empowering kind of things connected to that. But there
mm,
is a self-sufficiency that keeps you in an autopilot loop that actually hinders your ultimate aspirations, right? In the
yeah.
word self-sufficient, the word self, it's over pressured on the self to produce, this level of independence, this level of efficiency, this level of being seen a certain way, right? And we put that pressure.
Mm,
But look at the word, the image of self sufficiency. We're chasing these images. So oftentimes, to look up these words again, even these common words, is because you'll take on the image of self sufficiency and not really realizing what you are signing yourself up to, right?
yeah.
It's not saying that self-sufficiency is bad. It's not a bad thing, but I think we
Mm,
pursue the image of what we think it is, right? So learning how to be dependent and still seek for help, right?
mm,
Learning how to be efficient and also vulnerable when you're not. So you don't have to do away with the power of what self-sufficiency can be, but the goal is to weed out those unhealthy things about self-sufficiency that we've picked up along the way.
I love that. It sounds like it's not about the portrayal, but about the process.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. And I even the idea of like self,
Yeah.
right? Like we're not alone. We have to be independently interdependent because it's like we grow together because we get to mirror each other and see ourselves through each other, and like I don't know, we get the reflection of what can be
Hmm.
by the exposure to the other people that are there.
Yeah, and I think even with using that example, oftentimes some people will dismiss it because you have an idea thinking that, oh, you're blatantly being this way, right?
Mm,
You're not always blatantly not asking for help.
mm,
You want the help, right? But
yeah,
it's those autopilot behaviors that keeps you disconnected from getting the help that you actually need. So that's where I
yeah,
come in. Like, you actually want this. It's not saying that you don't, or that you're blatantly like, oh, I don't need anyone. Everyone
yeah.
has a reason for their own self-sufficiency. My even with talking about that topic this month, teaching women in leadership how to use it as an asset and not armor.
Mm,
So
come on.
so to do that, I'd have to get down to, what does self-sufficiency mean to you, right? What does it look like to you? What does it mean to relinquish that? And
Mm,
oftentimes we are carrying definitions of things through what we've experienced. Like, the autopilot has two ways that it can be programmed. It's through emotional impact.
mhm,
Like, being on autopilot, it doesn't need your permission to be programmed.
mhm,
Olivia does not have to say, "Yeah, program." No, it's going to do it. From repetition of
yeah,
environments, repetition of words, however you may put it, an emotional impact. However, it does need your direct participation to
mm.
reprogram.
I love that, I love that. You just said something. You said armor and oh my gosh, what did you just say?
Asset and armor, like using it
Asset and
for
armor.
asset versus armor.
Yeah, that is so
Yeah.
excellent because it's like we're all in pursuit of safety, right? And like sometimes we put on the facade for the sake of safety as opposed to, using what we know as just where we are and then kind of like going through or go through in order to grow. I absolutely love that. So like tell me a little bit about your framework. Like how does it work to actually go, from a place of being on autopilot to what is the result? What would you call the result?
Well, there are three results that women in leadership have when they work with me. First and foremost, they
Mhm.
either decide to elevate in their specific industry, change industries, or get out altogether, right?
Mm,
Or get out altogether. My job is to help them reconnect to their truest aspirations, not so much continue to keep going, right? Because they assume this is what will get me there. I think today I had a conversation in regards to how women in the workplace leadership, we work hard, we do things, and we carry the assumption, because we worked hard, um,
mm,
they will see me. And it
yep.
doesn't work that way, right?
Mm-mm,
And there's a lot of things attached to that, right? Attached to you actually not speaking up, actually not being able to articulate what it is that you really want. And I
yeah.
know that even from my own experience, being in a leadership position, I was liaison with a multi-million dollar account that I managed. And so
Mhm,
pretty much I was the representation for my organization in the Department of Education. I did wonderfully in that position. However, once that position was over, and then when it came down to me doing the work and coming into coaching and being asked certain questions like, so, articulate what it is that you did. I mean, yeah, I could list off things, but
mhm,
being truly connected to my value process took some time to get back to. Why? Because I was so busy, performing tasks to be seen. that I was disconnected from what it was I actually did. Like, how did
Mhm.
I bring value? Like, what was my unique way of getting these results? And that's
Yeah.
what stood in between me and being able to properly sell myself, right? Sell myself in a confident way. And
Yeah.
so while I was basically thinking that I did not have the credentials, or maybe I needed to go back to school. I mean, I already have a master's, but go back to school and do this and that. All I had to do was really go back and figure
Yeah.
out what the heck I was actually doing.
Yeah.
You know, getting great results, achieving, but
Yeah.
definitely working so hard to say, okay, they'll see me, and
Mm.
not thinking to document my own process and success. And a lot of
Yeah.
women in leadership are that way. I've gotten questions even in my DM, like, hey, like, though I'm not a career coach, but one woman had the same problem. And I was able to say, hey, you're busy listing off things. Why are you not connecting to your value process? And it's because
Mhm.
a lot of us are on autopilot, meaning the pursuit of success in a miserable way. So we're so
Yeah.
focused on being seen in a certain way, a certain level of validation. It could go back to other past experiences. I do not know, but normally it does. And
Mhm.
however we've identified what validation is, right? And so you can be so consumed in that moment, so consumed in, okay, if I do this, this will happen. You create your own stories, your own narrative, and you're not realizing that you're dismissing everything about yourself. You're not even paying attention to you. So then when someone asks you, hey, what's this about? You kind of freeze up. You don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
there, but you don't really have the words. You don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I resonate deeply with that because I think a lot of us are what I call professional liars. It's like we get into a place where we know that it is acceptable to be a certain thing and presenting as a certain kind of person and showing up with a certain kind of work will will get us what we need in the moment, but
Yeah.
not necessarily cultivate anything else that's fulfilling for us as individuals kind of in life outside of whatever that like thing
Yeah.
is.
So now you have to ask yourself, why do I sacrifice me? Why do I put me last even in that,
Yeah.
in a secure profession, you know, think about the value that you're bringing to the table. And not
Yeah.
just professionally, think about it even personally. Do you do that in your relationships,
Mm,
friendships, marriage, however it may be? Do you do that? Um, do you do things in a way where it's like finally they'll get it and they're still not getting it?
yeah. Yeah, that's real. Is there a certain kind of narrative that you see coming to you in your clients?
um so many things. I'm really thinking because so many things actually cross intertwine. I think
Yeah.
we were talking about how like personal development is kind of like one of those things that drops in every industry, to be
Yeah, it
honest
has
with
to.
you. Like you somebody a website and you realize like, yo, you got to do some personal development with this person to get a website done. No, seriously. And so I often say that I've never met leaders, and this is true with the people that I've worked with. I've never met
Mhm.
leaders lacking skill, but
Mm,
or lacking the potential,
yeah.
but the personal development side, like emotional intelligence and different things like
Mhm.
those are the things that those are the big gaps that I've seen. So which is one of the reasons why I wanted to go on the other side, right? Instead of like, oh, let me teach you how to get the promotion or let me teach you how to do
Yeah.
that. Well, I mean, it wasn't necessarily a passion. My passion more so was for sustainability. So what I've seen with the women is the the narrative of just knowing what to do next, right?
Mm,
And sometimes knowing, trying to figure out what they're going to do with all that they have, right?
Mm.
So that's why I've named it like, or like my tagline is at the crossroads, because they're like, I'm here, right? Stuck is here. I can keep doing what I'm doing in transformation, but I really don't know how to like start moving in the the realm of transformation. So
Yeah.
they come work with me. And so when we do the identifying, which is a part of my framework, identifying, but then I also have a portion of my framework, which is where they recommit to themselves, right? Because it's one thing to start to come to work with me, say, okay, this is what I need. But it's another thing that after we do the identifying and whatever we find, right, with what's been blocking you, it's another
Mm.
thing to look at that and then still commit to the process.
Mm.
And so I kind of like have like a recommitment ceremony. And then also from that, you know, asking or revisiting some of those goals and aspirations because they
Yeah.
may change now that they realize some things that they really don't want.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it always kind of changes because I think we focus so much on education, especially particularly as women, and then particularly as Black women. I think we focus a lot on education,
Mhm.
um, more than actual like development. Like
Yeah.
yeah, we're like taking in information and it's validating us.
Yeah, and then just like I said, I've never seen a leader lacking skill. And I've never really see a lot of leaders lose anything because of skill. They usually lose something or they usually have the trouble because of something that they did not deal with, right? They were
Mm.
just in the pursuit of achieving or pursuit of, or especially in the personal development realm, I'll get to that when I get here, right? Looking at personal development as an afterthought and not looking at it as it actually goes hand in hand. Because the more you actually take time away from it, it widens the gap, right?
Mm.
And the bigger that gap, the more time you're going to need to actually close that gap.
Yeah.
Again, people don't realize that they widen the gap. And we're talking about things like emotional intelligence. We're talking about, even how they process things, how they look, what behaviors. Are you self-sabotaging yourself? Are you saying, yeah, this is what I want, but then you're doing other things that keep you from actually pursuing those things and you don't even know it, right?
Yeah.
And so I just think that treating personal development as an afterthought actually harms more than helps, because once you get there and then you realize that those internal barriers did not go away, or you realize or you crash emotionally,
Yeah.
or you get to the top and be like, this isn't even what I wanted, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
And it
and I'm
happens
a
so
believer,
often.
yeah, and I'm a believer that there were, as they say, red flags. I'm a believer that there were like the red flags along the way, but you just something in you kept it going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ignore it.
Definitely.
That you can deal with it when you get there.
Yeah. And I don't think people are necessarily attuned to, I think the culture of success is just now, like within maybe the last like decade, like breaking.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, so people can like even see the red flags. I think we're just getting to a point where like enough of us have actually thought like, you know what, let me take a step back and actually figure out what the pathway looks like and what good looks like so that we can like walk toward it as opposed to just like anything that comes, it's okay because it's part of the process.
yeah, and sometimes in your head you're thinking like, okay, so the language is somewhat changing. People are now redefining what success is to them.
Mm.
But then there's still so many women in leadership that still, and I don't want to say it like they're still holding on to the old. Again, it's like being on autopilot. It's things that are worked into the fabric of your
Mm-hmm.
emotions and the fabric of like your thought process. So um I said not that long ago that you can the way you define something is not just in what you say. I think we know a lot and we know how to say a lot,
Yeah.
but what you do also defines defines things. So I could say, I believe self-care is this, that, and the other. I could say that all day.
Yeah.
But look at my life. I'm also defining what I really
Yeah.
do through my actions. And oftentimes those two things don't match.
Yeah. Without any activation, it's not actually true. It's just kind of this dissonant thought that exists within you.
Yeah. Or what you feel like it's proper to say. I've seen that a lot.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
how they say trends and stuff like that, and everyone's saying the same thing. And sometimes I'll be like, oh my gosh, are we even individuals here? I mean, I'm sorry, guys. I can't stand it. That's one of the reasons why I have my clients redefine words like self-care. What does that actually
Mhm.
mean for you?
Yeah.
Because you can look at a few images on social media and hear somebody say something. I'm like, girl, what does that mean for you though? How do
Yeah.
you fit into this? Stop taking on other people's definitions and life stories as your own. It's not yours. Okay.
Yeah.
And the way you're going to see transformation is when you start realizing that it's not yours. You can appreciate theirs, but you got to find what's yours. Okay.
Yeah.
And stand in your autonomy, your individuality. And that's what sustainability is all about. When you really get grounded and reconnected to what it is you truly want, not influenced because it's
Mm.
what's in, not, overtaken by what's popular in the moment. Let's bag all that back, shut all that off. What does that mean for you? I'm sorry, but it's like for real. Like sometimes we can sound so redundant, and you ask the question to people, and they all saying the same thing, and I'm like, did everybody listen to the same podcast or something? Like, what's going on? Does anybody have
I
a
love it.
in here?
You know, and
I
girl,
get so
no
tired.
apology
It's like, oh,
necessary.
do we have another definition?
Listen, no apology necessary on that because I think we lean more to tradition than truth a lot of the time. Like trends, tradition, not so much truth. Um, because it's easier, right? Like the body and the brain are like, this is the way to get to, point B from point A, as opposed to, having to actually commit and recommit. And
Yeah,
girl, when you said that right there, I'm like, all right, I think we all love this idea of commitment. It sounds very
yeah,
pretty.
yeah,
But then like you have to recommit because you get to the point where you see the reality of the situation, of the journey, of who you are, of where you are actually standing in relationship to the goals that you have.
yeah.
And then it gets really scary.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game. And that's why I love it. Because I know that if my client is like, okay, so we've identified these are the things that are like in my way. I say I want this or whatever. And I go through the process of, okay, so now with that said,
Mhm.
are you willing to recommit to, or changing things, even if that recommitment means uh an I won't say an abandonment, but like a complete turnaround, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes we are loyal to things just because of the time we've put in, right? And it's hard to walk away because when we're in moments like that, what we're really doing is trying to validate that we haven't already wasted our time. Like, so I'm going to keep working on it. I'm keep working on it. I'm gonna keep working on it because no, I didn't waste my time. I didn't waste, and that's true for professional life and relationships. So that's why I love the work that I do because my goal is not only to say, okay, woman in leadership. Now you're able to see greater
Mhm.
opportunities. We're able to move in this direction and elevate as far as profession, or you know that you want to start this business. But no, life reset as well. And
Mhm.
oftentimes we will not walk away from things because our ego is in the way, because we have to prove to ourselves and whoever we think is watching, right, that we
Yeah.
didn't make a mistake.
Okay. Yeah. That yep, you said it. That's that sunk cost fallacy, because it's just like you're avoiding the sunk costs as much as possible. I did not create these bad investments of
Yeah,
time. I did not create these bad
I
investments
didn't
of
do it.
money.
It's
Like
getting
I
better.
didn't do it.
It's
Right,
getting
like
better. It's getting better. Every day it's getting better, and you just keep digging yourself deeper and deeper, and you widening the gap. So then when a person like me come along, sometimes for some people it's shock. It's like, you lying. I know you lying. You know how they say, I know you lying. uh, no, you've been lying to yourself for a long time, and it's okay. And we can get through it. We can get through it if you're willing. It's okay. Just to know,
if
if you've
you're
been lying
willing.
to yourself for a long time, it's okay. We've all been there in some way, form, or fashion, where
Yeah.
we've had the best intentions, right? But, you know, where you truly are trying to go, the best intentions mean nothing, right? If you're not willing to cut off what you need to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, it's that if you're willing part, like, and again, it goes back to the commitment and recommitment, because like you get there, you get in the fray, you get in the fight, right? And it really is such a battle against like your old self and the potential of your new self and like who you're aspiring to become, and getting out of the autopilot. Like it
Yeah,
is,
you may have to
yeah.
face you may have to face some painful things, and that's why, again, like, I work with women, and um I have this thing where I even sign a non-disclosure agreement, because they may say something to me that they've never said to anyone,
Yep.
and I want that trust to be there. And so, believe it or not, facing pain and facing yourself and facing these behaviors that you may have been running from through your professional life, or through um, whatever you're doing in your personal life,
Mhm.
um, it's not an easy thing. And and I can definitely say that, like, even with my journey in personal development, to be honest, like, I wish I honestly had a me. Some things I would have gotten through quicker, or viewed differently, right?
Yeah.
Or being able to move in a certain way, both professionally and personally. So one of the reasons why I got into it, because of lived education, lived experience. I lead with my lived experience more, but I have tons of education for those who want to check that. But yeah,
I'm mad at the double blink, sis.
I did.
Should check
You
that.
know how it goes. Sometimes, like, "So let me know, no problem. I don't have a problem with that for those that
I
want to
got
check
it.
that. But I've learned a lot from what I went through. And so it just is what it is. And so I thank God, because I was able to get through those things with him, with his
Mhm.
guidance and leadance. Because, you know, a lot of times we are just layered with so many different masks, so it's not even funny. So,
Yeah.
one of my goals is to definitely empower these women in leadership, being a leader myself, and help them navigate those hard things, right? Help them get out of the loop so that they really honestly can start to reconnect and start to reach for those deep aspirations, what they really want, not what they're settling for, not what they think that looks like will get them there, and
Mhm.
take them and on a path where they are um, boldly proclaiming what their values are, right?
Yeah.
and creating goals that don't jeopardize those things, right? So
Mm.
I often say that there's a possibility, most definitely, you will get a promotion working with me after the work, but the work that I do, you can always look back 5 and 10 years later and still be growing from it. So I love putting women in a position to maintain, not
Yeah.
just um, reach a certain height, while they're working with me, and then they got to go on to the next thing. No, I put you in a position to sustain and maintain. So
That is excellent. I love that. It's never a dull moment when you are developing as a person, and it never ends.
child,
Like,
never do. You be like,
it
is it
never.
over today? No, you might have a break.
Mhm.
You go on vacation, go to the beach, but it ain't over.
And then something's gonna test you on the beach.
Okay, seriously, no, for real. So just it's a beautiful thing, but it is not always beautiful. Sometimes it's just,
Yeah.
are you serious? Yeah. But the goal
That's the
is to
word
have,
right there.
no, for real, but the goal is to have that support where you can
Yeah.
actually work things out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. We can process, we can grow, we can actually, I don't know, you can win or learn, right? And it really just does come down to that. Like, you either count the victories, um, or figure out how to get better. And that's the move. And I love it. I love the work that you do, seriously. And this conversation is fire. Um, so so tell me about your business, right? So all of this is like, it's a lot to deliver to another person. And we've talked a little bit about your framework. Could you run through your framework one more time, real quick?
Yeah. So ultimately what the framework is, I take my clients through a process of identifying, you know, one way or another, however they connect. From there, we go through recommitment. From there, we go through implementation successfully, right? Creating a new list of goals and breaking down how does that look in light of what we've discovered, also in light of where they are in their recommitment, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then from there they will be guided with my guidance on that implementation. Sometimes even with that, I give them special assignments based on that. um, and also within that framework, I'm not always in the position of telling them what to do. I
Mm-hmm.
allow my clients to also take part of the decision making process based on what they've found out, based on what they are willing, how they have recommitted to themselves, right? So, what does that look like now, and how and what are we going to do about it, right? Instead of me saying you should do this, do that, do that. There are sometimes that does kick in, but a large
Mm-hmm.
part I really do allow my clients to partake of the decision making process. And so with that, and then monitor their process with assessments and things along the way.
Excellent, excellent. So that sounds like a very deeply personal
Yeah.
process. So
Yeah.
I'm sure the delivery of this process has to be, and at least for now, I'm not sure what scaling might look like for you in the future. And I know we've kind of like talked about that while we were walking around, but like, how does the delivery look? Is it like one-on-one concierge, kind of like?
Well, how my framework is because it's my ticket is high, low volume because of the work that I do, so that I can really focus on my clients. So I don't take
Mhm,
on a whole bunch of clients within like a 3 month um, span. I
mhm,
do love to have my attention there. However, what I also am going to be working on is creating a course for those
mm,
that don't mind doing online with this
mhm.
online coursework. And then what I'll do is that still have a portion where they can meet with me one-on-one. So we are going into that so that I can reach more people, but it's high ticket, low volume. So I do not take on a lot of clients for that specific reason because of the way my framework is set up. And it works well for me, because the work that I do, it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of thought process and things, and working the framework is the same, but the approach, may be
Mm-hmm.
different for each client. So the high ticket, low volume really does wonders for me. I wouldn't even play myself, as they say, to try to like do a lot of people. No, that is not going to ever
Yeah.
work for me.
I concur. I've tried it. And because of the depth of the work, and just the amount of help that kind of like the amount of things that get uncovered during the process.
Yeah.
I think that's really it. The excavation, like you're digging stuff up and you're going to find new fossils, you're going to find new bones, and now you have to do something with them, and like put them into the process that
And you're in
you're.
the branding industry, so it's like, imagine like they're like, okay, they want to go 3 months of just, a first portion of uncovering, and then implementing to change that behavior, right? Hopefully they'll come to me before they come to you, so your job will be easier. But
Y'all
like
heard it
we
here
said,
first.
no, seriously, like we said, industries, well, those, I'll say it like this, those industries that care, they intersect with that personal development.
Hmm.
The skill, sometimes even the idea is not the problem. Like, okay, so who do you want to talk to? What do you want to do? How do you want to put yourself out to the world? Well, I don't know. Or just timeliness or their commitment to the project. All of these are
Yeah,
character issues. People
all
walking
of
around here,
them.
people are walking around here trying to be the bomb with serious character issues and not realizing that it's that's stopping you.
Yeah, seriously, seriously. Like if your motivations are askew, your results or your feelings, like your lack of fulfillment, all of those things are going to be off kilter as well. Like it just doesn't, like two plus two still makes four, and and
That,
that really just is it. Yeah,
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 and that's the thing about it, that people don't realize. I've seen even with other friends in businesses, just, character issues get in the way. It does.
yeah,
And this
yeah.
type of work is normally an afterthought. Not so much that they don't want to or whatever. And I think, like you said, about the conversations about success has just recently changed. And
Mhm.
also the whole idea of putting personal development first on the same level as career advancement. I'm seeing that more and more on LinkedIn, like where that's being put on the same
Mhm.
plateau. But that wasn't the case just just around the corner just a few years back. That
Not at
language
all.
is now just starting to be. So now what people are realizing, like, yo, like, we really don't have a problem with skills. We have a problem with character, for lack
Yeah.
of better words. If you want me to dress it up another way, I'll do that when I'm at the board meeting. But
Hey.
character is the
She said, "I will rebrand it however you want to, but the
right.
character is the
No, but
issue at
that's
hand right
it. I've
now."
never seen a leader lose over skill or potential.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
But let's
uh,
name some character issues that they've lost things over.
mm, mm.
You can think of a
What
couple.
do you ooh, all right. That's actually a good one. I was reading this article about executive coaching and how executive coaching should be the prerequisite for executive coaching should be personal development and therapy because you can try to teach somebody how to be like good to other people, but if they like
If you
if
got
they're
a
not a
character
good
problem, you're
person.
not about to be. You need somebody who's able to, that you spent your money,
Yeah,
who's able to tell you your attitude is bad. Why
yeah,
is that?
Yeah.
That's
And
it.
ask the real questions.
If you want to be a leader, you want people to follow you, you bring impact. You have to honestly show that you care, not that fake care. People have it has to exude from you. Now,
Yes.
now granted, I'll say it like this. There's some things you just can't teach people.
Mm.
But if someone is willing, here's that word again, willing to do their part, then
Yeah.
I'm in the fight with you. But sometimes you just have to tell people you have a bad attitude. Your attitude is actually getting in the way of what you really want.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, yeah.
But now they're requiring it. They're requiring it for a reason.
Mhm.
Now there's other things that go into the whole workplace and all of these things and what they haven't given to their employees as far as support and women in leadership, because a lot of the leadership development programs, they will teach you and give you a lot of knowledge and information, but the issue is that the environment, they're going back to the same environment. The environment
Right.
is not elevating with what they are now being taught. So how can
Right.
you grow in these areas, right? So we have that there. But there's so many facets to personal development that will really unlock the power of your leadership. Like even for me, like being in the leadership roles that I've been in, private and the nonprofit sector, I getting out of that corporate dynamic, I honestly had to learn how to be a leader in a different way. And
Yeah.
this meant that personal development side that really wasn't nurtured in these environments because you're so busy, you know, making sure the tasks are performed or making sure that you're reaching your bottom line or the bottom line of the organization, and you are
Yeah.
presenting or maybe being eyed for a promotion. So sometimes these other aspects of the portion of leadership that is quite important isn't being developed. And so I was in a toxic environment. Long story short, it wasn't because of my work. It was just because of the my direct manager
Mm.
having a personal issue. So I was fired from a multi-million dollar contract that I did not fumble the bag on, right? So from that, you can imagine where my outlook on leadership and all of that and all of the stuff that I did was I had to um, relearn. And so I didn't really recognize that I had an issue until I started one of my first businesses, which was in the branding sector. And after
Mm.
working with a few small brands, I realized, like, dang, that business could have been better, but I didn't step into the leadership role. I really wasn't
Mm.
being a leader. I was doing tasks. You see what I mean? I was
Yeah.
being, and so I took the same thing and the emotional impact. Remember, your autopilot is created from emotional impact and repetition. I took the same thing from this job and I jumped into this role. I got contracts, I did things right. Clients were satisfied with the work, but my business still wasn't successful because I really didn't step into leadership.
Yep.
I really didn't
Yeah.
the way I should have.
Yeah.
My name
Yeah.
my name was on the LLC and taxes and the memos and the invoices, but I wasn't being CEO.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a shift to become
Yeah.
a founder, to become a CEO, to become somebody who is not just the worker or like the transactional worker or like the manager of the business. Like
Yeah.
to actually be the person is it's an elevation, it's a growth that you have to have within yourself. And it's a continued growth. Like you never really stop because if the business is changing, if everything around you is changing, you also have to continue to change to keep up with these like new levels, right? Like the saying, new levels, new devils. But it's like, okay, well, you need a bigger sword, like every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just in that loop, till I had to realize, like, I just had to come to a point when I took a break and I stepped away from leadership, and it had me some time to digest things, and I had to be honest with myself, like, your business could have did way better if you were more of a leader.
Mm,
And then
yeah.
from that realization, I had to start asking myself questions. Why did you step back from it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's real. That's
Yeah.
real. I love that. I love that. I've done that, and that resonates with me because I've had like the really good times where it was just like the money is flowing and all those different kinds of things, but the fulfillment and like even like I don't know, I was very depressed like pretty early on in the journey.
Yeah.
And it only really stopped when I set up, what actually mattered to me and became my own competition. And like I set up my scoreboard, like what's my mission, what's my vision, what are my values, and how do I like become better at that every single day? And then like really just compete with myself and lead in those areas and not looking left and right saying, well, what does leadership look like over here, over there, in these like inauthentic kind of ways and authentic to someone else, right?
Yeah, but it's like we're going back to where we were at the beginning. Stop taking on the definition of things from other people.
Yeah.
You have to make it make sense for you. And it's not always easy. I don't want to say it like, because I know we say a lot of things like, let it go, blah, blah, blah. It's a process. I'm not knocking no one who has to make those kinds of decisions, which is one of the reasons why I decided to be a resource to women in leadership,
Yeah.
because it is a process to let these things go and to reshape what because on a lot of levels, there's a level of proving, a level of validation. I remember I had one client who was really, it was misplaced anger. And I'm gonna tell
Mhm.
you how deep this goes. She came and she was just like, well, I'm tired because I do all this work and I do this and the whole spiel.
Yeah.
I listened, and so she was like, and I go to my boss and whatever, and someone else, they come and they do this and they do that. And I had to ask her a question. I said, it seems like you're expecting something from your manager on a personal level.
Mm.
So who else, you know, in your life that you felt like you did a lot for that just refused to see you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it seemed like I get, I get the whole dynamic of you doing work and someone else that I totally get it. And I recognize that. But get the level of anger here,
Mm.
because there's
Yeah.
a professional way to handle that, like,
Yeah.
you know, so should I be getting paid more money? Are we going to negotiate a new contract? Like, keep it professional. Why are you mad? Like your mom or someone personally did this to you. You're
Yeah.
expecting, you're expecting something that that person shouldn't really they don't have for you. And I think
Yeah.
where the upsetness come from. Like, if you can move that out of the way, you can look at the situation clearly, either get paid more money or go to another position.
Yeah. I love that. It's so real. The little nuanced ways that like repetition compulsion comes into
It's a
our
teamwork. It comes
world.
into everything.
Yeah,
It's
because
into
it's just
everything.
like, girl, trying to reclaim situations that have nothing to do with the situations.
And she would have stayed there without having someone saying, "Hey,
Yeah,
you mad at something else.
yeah,
So let's deal with this first on a professional level, and then let's go ahead and deal with why you bring that into everything you do."
excellent. I love it.
Until you resolve it, you're gonna keep going round and round. I don't care what nobody say. They can say let it go. They can say whatever. Until you go back yourself and resolve it, it's going to be
Mhm.
a problem. So
Healing changes
people can
things.
say what they want and whatever, but until you look at it and say blah blah blah, it's going to be a problem. And I just be like, it's just up to you how long you want it to be a problem. Remember, a part of
Girl.
the framework, I let them make decisions. So how long you want it to be a problem?
She said, I will go with you on the process, but it is your process.
It's really it's up to you about how long you actually want it. Once you see it, once you
Yeah,
actually see it, because everyone doesn't see what we think they do.
yeah,
Not even the obvious stuff, but once they see it, you make
yeah.
a decision how long you want it to be a problem.
Mm,
You can get through this. I'm here with you, but how long do you want it to be a problem?
yeah, that is excellent. I love that so much. How long do you want it to be a problem? Ooh, the responsibility in that. And I think that's the thing that people are afraid of because being a victim is easier. Like, if you can play the victim, so there's power in victimhood. And I feel like I've said this before. There's power in victimhood because you can be like, it's not me, it's
Mhm.
them. They are the problem, it's not me. And there's almost this expectation that other people are going to come in and clean up everything for you because you're the victim as opposed to taking responsibility for whatever your part is in the situation.
Yeah. But that
How
goes
long
back
do you want it to
to
be a problem?
it goes back to what I said before. The whole aspect of letting go. It's like people are more tied to the time that they've given than
Yeah,
they are to the transformation they say they want.
yeah, yeah.
People do it all the time. They stay on jobs longer than they need to. They stay in relationships longer than they need to because it's like, look at this time I've given to this. Look at this time. So when you put that, there, you understand why like it's difficult,
Yeah,
to I guess as you say, stop being the victim in that sense, like,
yeah.
but wait a minute. I'm supposed to get, something for this,
Mm,
right?
yeah. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, girl. We could literally talk forever. So, let's talk about your self-care. So this is a lot of work, right? This is a lot of work where you take on things from other people, right? And it's heavy. So how do you take care of yourself, A, in the work, and B, as someone who's growing a business, as women, as founders, we're wearing a lot of hats. Even if we are, standing with a team, like there's still work in that,
Yeah,
in the envisioning and the delegation and like managing or managing managers, like any of those things.
yeah.
So like how are you taking care of yourself?
Well, first and foremost, just in the regular stuff that needs to do to the reoccurring task, delegating that off because I notice I'm listening to um, how I'm changing as a result
Mhm,
of being a coach, just being in a space of just showing up to do what I do. So
mhm,
learning how my business works and my SOPs and different things and how to properly give those things away so that I can just be in more of a position to just show up,
mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Deliver. Because that's where I'm moving more and more to. Before I used to do a lot of those things, but I don't really have the capacity anymore,
yeah.
um, like I used to. So I'm trying to
Mhm,
listen and get things really documented and delegate and all that way. Also, another way is that the fact I also put a part of my framework that my clients make decisions themselves because I know that I'm just gonna, let the cat out of the bag. I'm a very passionate person. I'm the person that is like, come on, we in the fight. Let's go, let's go, let's go. We're in the fight, 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 fight. But one thing that gets on my nerves is if I look over and I'm fighting and you standing, that gets on my nerves. So to besides the vetting process, even to before they even start to work with me,
Mhm.
I just, with them making the decisions themselves, the responsibility is on them. Always reminding me it's not on me to make them do, right?
Yeah.
So two portions is recommitting to themselves and then also them making the decision. So this is what you say you're going to do. All right. So let's develop a strategy, implement, and let's have targeted points where I come in and I check on the process, right?
Mm.
Stay out of it. Another very key way is that the fact that God, my savior, like being able to disconnect and go and be with him. Without that, first and foremost, to be quite honest with you, I don't even think I would
Mhm.
do the work. I don't even think that I would be even skilled enough with my all my degrees. I don't even think I'd be skilled enough to handle
Girl.
um, what I do handle. But because of him, I'm able to maintain, and then it also just keeps things in perspective. I do what I can. I'm not, as they say, um, I'm not out here to save everyone. I'm just out here to help those that's willing to work.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Okay. This was fun.
Yeah, it was super cool.
I always love talking to you though. So obviously this
So
was going to
much.
be just a public conversation.
Sometimes I try to
um,
not be so like whatever, but I'm like, this is really how I think and talk. So I'm just like, I hope.
Give them the truth. Like, what are we gonna do? Seriously.
Right.
So where can we find you online and like how can people work with you?
Okay, so I am Kemerlin Richards on all platforms except for Instagram. It's Kemerlin Rich. So it's Kemerlin RICH. My website is kemerlinrich.com. Hello for consistency. And also you can apply to work with me on my link in my bio on Facebook, Kemerlin Rich. My link is in my bio on Instagram, and the link is there on the website, and you can fill out that assessment. And if you qualify, then we are working.
I love it. I love it. Yes, if you qualify. And I'll make sure all of the information is in the comments and the description so that you can just click and reach K easy, easy.
Yeah, I'll send you
Girl,
the Calendly link, and so they can just go straight to the form from there.
sounds good. I love it. Ma'am, it was wonderful. I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for being here. I am grateful for your time and your gift. I am grateful for your gift.
Oh, thank you
You
so much.
are,
I appreciate
yeah,
you.
you're amazing for sure. All right, my love.
Thank you. Thank you. You have a great rest of your night. Goodbye, everyone.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye.
Okay. Um, I feel full. So that was an awesome conversation with Kay Merlin. She definitely brought all the information about personal development and all the ways that it's very much a part of everything that we're doing. We are simply people, and as people, that leaks into everything that we do because we are just us. Um, so if you would like to take your personhood and build a brand and a business and you need help from someone who has gone through the process of becoming a person, and really understanding my mission, vision, and values and building businesses that are reflective of those things, I would love to work with you. Again, I'm Olivia C.S. Thomas, the founder of Intentional Development Co. I'll put my information in the comments and in the description, and I would love to work with you. I'm here for you. Feel free to join the Busy Girls Brunch at busygirlsbrunch.com, and I can't wait to see you next week. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Oh, have a great Father. Have a great week. Stay intentional and keep flourishing. Bye.